Yeah, today discussion is maybe this is why people don't show today. Today is not talk about flow, it's talk about the martial part of the martial arts. So first I want you discuss together, I want your guys talk a little bit what your vision about the martial and the martial art. Because most of the time we talk more about the art and the martial art. And today I want you go for another direction, the martial part from the martial arts. Yeah.
Military fighting to win the war.
Yeah.
That's the part.
Yeah.
The warrior
So
part.
yeah, we agree with this. Yeah, it's more war. Yeah, that here. Because I think in the martial arts for us, is you can go like a spectrum. Yeah, it's more like rainbow. Have the color, but you don't see clear when change to another color. You can see have the colors, but you don't know exactly where it's changed because it's like slowly change. So this I think is important that talk today for we recognize when we change for the next color. So you can go for the spectrum that side, like the war, go to the war, kill, life and death, and you go to all the spectrum to the another point when it's like peace, love, freedom, all these things, the enlightenment, you go for that spectrum. But always the part for the same rainbow, you need all this for you when you talk about the martial arts, So maybe today we can try see where stop the martial when you start the next step and what can be the next one. And what your guys thinking?
Yeah. Well, just one question. You said it's a spectrum from one end to the other,
Yeah.
but can't you have both at the same time?
No, I think our goal is have all. You say like the rainbow, you need have all. I think it's not, but you can practice one more. No, you can focus on one part, but still in that part is you have all that inside. So don't become limited.
Yeah, it's not black or white.
Yeah.
It's not all or nothing.
Yeah. So I think this is why it's important we understand that extreme, for the war. Yeah. Because I think, I never been in the war before, and your guys not too. But for many centuries, a lot of martial artists or the war, that part for the martial is being the war a long time. Or even for samurais, all these people go really, is about life or death.
Yeah.
I think that may define what more is the martial part. So even if you don't go, never be in the war, but I think you need to learn, understanding what this means. I think because when you go to the war, it's not more philosophy, it's something real. Sometimes we in the situation when you need to kill the guy or the guy can kill you. You're that extreme. And maybe you know that feeling just when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for us, because have that opportunity to go in that situation, we can use your feeling and imagination to try understand something. Because what happened when you go to the war and have that situation when you need kill or die, you start learn something and start make sense for you. So your perception about life and death start change. This is the power we can give to the martial artists. When you start to understand that concept about life and death can change the way you see things, can change the way you see life, can change the way you see martial arts too. Because now you start understanding better. But I think, of course, when you're in the real war, maybe force you to understand because you need to see clear. But I think it's possible you start understand even if you not go there, if you start thinking about and how you feel. So I think one good way to do it is what you think about that. Because I think a lot of people talk at this. No, I'm ready to die in the mat, and I ready to die in the ring and the cage, and I prepare for this. People tell this many times. We can see people say this, and maybe we can say this too. No, I'm ready for this. But I think it's important if you ask you now, at that moment, what happened if you die now? You prepare for dying now? Maybe you say, I'm prepared for dying in the cage, in the ring, but you prepare for dying now? Because if you're not prepared for dying now in that exact moment, why you think you prepared to die there? Why you think you prepared to die in the war? No, you don't know when you go die. That's the reality. You don't know when you go die. So I think understanding this, what's that mean for you, I think it's important for us and the martial arts perspective. And we need to understand a little bit that spectrum of the thing. So when you start thinking about you ready to die now? If you die today, what happened?
I hope you guys would be sad.
I want your keys.
You got a brand new order.
You see, we have, when you think this, we have a lot of things you need to know. I want you people be mad or make people be happy. I want your gifts. So you have a lot of things you don't finish yet. We're not ready to die because you don't finish that kind of, well, how will you deal with this? How my family deal with this? So you have a lot of concern. So if you have a lot of concern, what happened the next if I die? This meaning you're not prepared to die. It's not right or wrong, but you're not prepared to die. And maybe it's better you go for another direction. Okay, what's life mean for me? And maybe you go for that direction. What life mean for you? What's more important for me? If I'm not prepared to die, what I need to do for I feel prepared for die, Because be prepared to die is when you don't have any concern about this. You don't have any fear. Doesn't mean you never have fear to cross the street. You don't look the side. That fear, biological fear, you need to have. But the fear of die, the fear of finish and everything, that thing you can learn from martial art. Maybe not so much today because you don't go to war anymore. But you can start understanding psychological thinking and how this meaning for you. And maybe when you start understanding the meaning of that, you understand better the meaning of life. And maybe you can use better your life. And if you're more open to live better your life, all your perspective about martial arts start change. The way you train start change. Yeah? Because I think like the thin area between war, the next one I think is become self-defense. Yeah? Or you prepare to die and live, life or death, you need to understand this. And I think if you go deep this, I think you need to take time for yourself, think about this, take one time for you before sleep or take a time in day and start thinking about this, what this means for you. And maybe if you start to understand this, the meaning of all martial arts start change for you. Because one thing happened when you go for the martial arts, when you think, it's martial arts, it's about war. But if you don't understand that area, die, death and life, you cannot say you go for that direction. You never touch that spectrum because you're never thinking about what is that feeling. But when you start sparring, you still inside react like this. If the guy do a little bit more hard, you do a little bit more hard. The guy do a little bit more, you do more and more. And what happened in the end? And the end is the war. You go for that spectrum again, okay? First time, no, I need to defend myself. And the guy go more hard, you go more hard. Coming the point when now I need to kill the guy or the guy try to kill me. It is the spectrum, So this I think is important. You see the difference between war, self-defense, sport, art. I think see the difference between all these things. So when you're training, you clear what you do in that moment. So this is why I think it's important to understand the war perspective, to understand when you're sparring, if you're there or not. If your mind move you to that direction. If your mind think you are in the war. If your mind think you are in the self-defense. If your mind think you are in the sport. If your mind think you are in the art part. So you need to recognize where your mind, I think this is why it's important you talk about the war part. For you see, you want your mind to be in that area because it's not right or wrong. Like I say, we look for all the spectrum. You need to be able to deal for all these things. But your mind can focus in one area for time. and where you want to spend more your energy to do that way. Now you can talk like sometimes like the Krav Maga, people say, oh, it's more real, it's more like for war. So the way he's trained is different, it's more like how I can hurt the guy, how I can do this, so it's changed a different way to do it. You want to say something?
Yeah, I think recently I moved more toward the art because I realized that it allows me to, kind of like Musashi, he was supposedly the greatest samurai, right, or sword fighter in history, but he had more art in his philosophy and his thinking, so that came back to better results in the war. So I'm trying to see how far the art will improve that naturally. So that's my motivation. Like my ego now wants the art because I think it's going to give me better results than I was getting before, focusing directly on the battle.
Yeah, and I said before, I think like the higher have the lower inside,
Yeah.
So if people start to understand the art and the martial arts, natural, all your respect for all these things improve.
Yeah.
But if your mind is still too much in the war area or the self-defense area, doesn't matter too much, that way if it's got too much, you cannot see this. So you cannot change for the art part.
Yeah, well, I realized that I was losing the war part because I couldn't see and I couldn't move well enough or soon enough. But that's on this end to have those things like you keep saying. So if I can work on those, then naturally, automatically, those should improve. And that's what you've been saying for a year, but it's tough to let go of that ego. Because we don't want to believe it's that way. We want to think, the more I work on this, the better I get on this. And it's not necessarily the case. It's the more we open up and see and practice, the better we get overall.
Yeah. And I think even our action is changed because if you realize it's about death or life or death, your way you think, the way you act start change totally. You act a different way. So your mind, your brain is prepared for something. So it's not open for the art part yet. So this is why I think it's important for us to start recognize when you go too much to the war area and come back. Now I think this is why if you start to understand, we go to this, you're able to get out from this. But it's there, So that area between the war and the self-defense, and after you go for the sport area, and you go to the art area. Yeah, and go over that way. But and now understand a little bit like that difference between all these things. You need to recognize the way you can practice for each area. Because we talk about Musashi, probably he's being the war, he's being that area. So he sees that he's killed people, he's anytime he can die. So he's changed all his perspective of life and death. So this is why he's able to go more for the art area. So this is why these people start to become great. People don't understand why he's talking about art.
Well, he could probably give up his fear more because he then confronted with that fear and succeeded or almost didn't, and he realized it's too it can freeze up.
Yeah, and I think that the fear of death. So this is why, like, if you never opportunity to go to the war and see the death in front of you, but logically you can go there. Start feeling, close and think for you. If you die today, what happened? What life means for you. So if you start understand that part, you're able to get out from this. Before this, you cannot. Before this, every time when you start sparring, natural, your body think is about survive. So you start to put tension. When your body and you know is not this, you're able to relax and go for the next step. And go for another one.
Yeah, I remember I heard about two groups of students they were testing. In one group, they would they were making something, and they had one group do it perfectly, and only make a few very perfectly, and then the other group, they said, make as many as you want. And it turned out that the group that made as many as they want became better at doing it than the ones that were trying to do it perfectly. Yeah. So it's if you just do it a lot, and don't stress about it. Right? That's what you've been saying. It naturally get better.
Yeah, I think you when you go that direction, you do so much, you so repeat, so go so many times, you don't have time too much think about, I'm here for compete, I'm here for fight. You don't have that time, so you're able to relax more.
Yeah.
So I think this is like when you can see like the spectrum when you go the art, what you look, the perfection you're looking is do the technique, still try win, but less conflict possible.
Yeah.
It's more efficient possible. So more technical possible. It's not the idea to hurt, but the idea to control and do the technique you want. This is the goal for the art part. You look for that. And when you go a little bit down, you think about sport, it's more like efficiency. You need to know how to make points. You need to know the rule of the game. So you need to focus a little bit more this, But still, if you train in the art part and focus, you're still able to do that part too, because you already know how to use the technique more perfect way. You improve your technical skill. You try do the art. You try don't force anything. You try use what your opponent gives to you. You try use this like artists. You use what he gives to you. Use that thing to make your art. You can do this. If you have that ability, when you move down to the sport area, the only thing you need to put plus there is the strategy. The game. What strategy you can make for you become better and we can win the competition, but still the technique is still there. So you'll be able to do this. When you go move a little bit for the self-defense, still, if you already have the technique, you know the strategy, if the guy is big, small, you know the strategy, and you know how to deal for the self-defense. And you know a lot of technique you don't need use, it's more simple. And you're so confident in that part, many times for the self-defense, you can just turn your back and go away. This is the best self-defense because you already understand the 2-1, And if you go, now you're in the situation, you cannot turn your back and go. Now you need fight. Or even sometimes you need survive. You need maybe kill the guy if it's necessary. So now you have all the tools you needed to do that kind of thing. But you see like, what a kind of technique I start to use for self-defense. No, it's not the same technique maybe there. Now you're able to do some technique, you can hurt the guy more. You can really kill the guy. You can do more dirty things. So this is why you start seeing, that area, it's okay. Self-defense, it's okay. You need to learn how to put the fingers in the eye. Put your elbow to where pain. Put your knee in the face. Now, when you go for the war perspective, maybe this need necessary. Maybe you need use. But when you start move this for sport area, you start recognize, no, I don't need this I don't need that kind of technique, that kind of position for that what I train. Because now I want to improve my strategy, I want to improve my technique, I want to improve my game. So you start don't use fingers in the eye, you don't use that kind of technique. And for that point, you can start thinking, now it's more limited. Now it's not real. No, it's not real. If I need to defend myself, it's not real. But it is. You learn how to control the guy. If you need to put the fingers in the eye, if you need to do something like this, everyone can do this. When the animal energy comes out, you need to survive. All this kind of thing, you're able to do this. But your conscience should see what you can do it. So you can start see, okay, when the art perspective, I don't want to do that kind of movement. I don't need it, When I go for sport, maybe when you go to the competition, it's not illegal. For example, you take the gi, maybe in his mouth, it's not illegal. You can still do it in the competition, But it's different game. When you hear like for training the art perspective, when you realize the gi is here, you don't want. You look for the perfection. So you see there, you want to change the movement. But if you're in the competition mode, if you're in the self-defense mode, it's okay. You can choke in the face, do all these things. So this is why I think it's important to recognize where your mind, so you'll be able to how you move in the jiu-jitsu. And this can happen the same thing. For example, if the self-defense maybe is necessary, you hold and defend more. But if you're still in the same idea here, you're not open for the art part or for sport part if you don't let it go open. Feel okay to don't be right all the time. Be okay if the guy passes your guy. Be okay if the guy is better than you. So this you need to change your mentality, you know. When you go for the war part, the guy cannot be better than you. You need to win, because if you lose, you die. So you put 100%, do what you need to do 100%. But you need to be able to change this. Oh no, now it's time for self-defense. Now it's time for sport. Now it's time for art. You need to be able to change this. So this is why it's important to understand the mindset for the war. Because maybe if you don't understand this, you still bring the war mentality to the next one, you know.
And the problem with that is you use too much energy because you're too tense. One of my favorite guys to study is Gary Tonin. Are you guys familiar with Gary Tonin? He's one of Gordon Ryan's team members. And he's very relaxed when he's even at the highest competition. He's, you know what I'm talking about. He's almost like having a blast.
Did you see him fight Gilbert?
Exactly. I was just watching him against Gilbert.
It was unreal.
He's totally relaxed, and Gilbert's a beast. I mean, he's just strong.
He's so relaxed. It looks
so relaxed, and he wins because he uses less energy, because he trains with freedom, and he's not like all worried when he's training. So that comes out in the match.
Yeah, because the flow state, you need that to relax. If you're not relaxed, because you just not relax if your ego is there.
Yeah.
Because what put tension is the ego. For relax, the ego cannot be there.
But his ego is more playful. It's there, but it's not like I'm cool and I'm great. It's more like I'm just having fun.
Yeah, when it's there, maybe the ego, when you finish the fight, then you come back to you can do that thing, you know. When you talk about the flowing state, when you flow, you need to be able to shut up your ego in that moment, you know. If you want to keep it with your ego after we finish the fight, then your day is up to you, you know. But I think coming to the point when you start recognize when the ego is not there, your jiu-jitsu become better, you start check, let me see if my ego is not there when I'm work, and see how your works go bad. So after time you start realize, maybe it's better I shut up my ego 24 hours, you know. And maybe next step you go for that direction.
It's less tiring.
Yeah.
It's a lot less tiring.
Yeah, because who be tired, who have stress is all the ego, you know.
I'm so tough.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
I think you know, think more about that war part, you know, think about more life, prepare for dying or not. I think it is necessary if you want to become like a fully martial artist. You know, you need to understand the death and life, and start see if that feeling is with you when you go train, when you're sparring. You know, when you start the kind of movement you do show you if you're in that mind spot or not. You know, and see when you go flowing, when you go sparring, and when you go really hard, you know, fight. You need to recognize the difference of three. And like say for training purpose, for learning, if you're in the fight mode, you limitate your brain to learn things, because now you cannot have mistake. You know, you need to win because not life and death. So if in that mindset, I don't say you cannot evolve, you can improve and become better, but you bring a lot of tension for you, tension for your body, tension for your mind, and maybe you don't need it. You know, maybe you relax more, so your brain is more open, your chemical and your brain is more open to learn new things. When you need to fight, I 100% believe you're able to do it. Every human being, when you need to survive, you're able to do it. But the difference now is because you learn technique, you learn how to do this more easy way, you know, more safety way. Okay? So make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like think about death and life. Maybe it's not good, and I say good. Maybe it's not is part. Maybe you're scared. But if you want to understand more this, or you need to go to the war, or you need to take time for you thinking about life and death for you. What life mean for you? What death mean for you? What mean for you if somebody close to you die? What happened if some people really close to you die? How you feel when you have some new life in your life, you know, your baby, and have that feeling. So understand that feeling. You need to understand how to bring that same feeling when you do martial arts, when you train, and see the relationship between this and martial arts, because it's connect. It's connect. This is why the name martial art. You know, that part is connect. You know, how you deal with your partner when you train. You see him as your partner or you see him as your enemy. You need to see clear the difference of the both things. And how you deal how you think you need to deal, but see clear. Don't try lie to yourself. Oh no, I'm here just for this, but actually you go for the different reason. So see this clear, so you'll be able to move in all these directions. Okay? So let's start flow.
Right?
Yeah.